Okay, this is a real simple fly. It's a fly that's kind of designed from the junk laying on your desk. It's a little soft hackle pattern. First things first though, look up in the corner of your screen and we need you to subscribe. That way you'll be able to see when we post new stuff all the time. So go ahead and do that. Okay, we have an Allen D202 hook. This is technically a dry fly hook, but it's stout enough to be used for multiple purposes. So we're just going to tie a little soft hackle on this. I've got a size 10 in the vise, and obviously you can size it down. And I'm going to start it off with UTC 70 in fluorescent orange. Alright, we've been fishing this really buggy blend of dubbing. It's SLF blend from Dave Whitlock. The orange is the abdomen. The brown is the thorax. Except I'm going to tie them in reverse. Like I said, the body, I'm just going to take a little pinch of the dubbing. And I'll show you a real cool way to make a really tight looped, or a tight body out of dubbing that's otherwise pretty buggy. So what I've done is I've dubbed my thread. Now I'm going to loop the thread up and ruin it. Alright, I totally nicked my thread on the hook point, but that's not going to matter. It might even actually make this look cool. So I've made a dubbing loop now, and half my dubbing loop is dubbed. Take our trusty dubbing loop twister. You see how that makes a really tight little dubbing rope. So I'm going to leave a little tiny bit of orange on the back of it, and then just use my rotary tool to move that up the hook shank. So you can see that made a nice slim little body, really tight. And that's kind of a cool technique you can use on all kinds of different flies. Who set the tightness on this vise? Okay, now I'm going to take the abdomen color, or the orange of the colors, and I'm just going to dub this on the normal way and just kind of make a little ball of dubbing. Now if you want, you can tie this same fly with a bead head if you want. So there I've got just a little bit of a ball of dubbing. Now to make a soft hackle, typically you take like a hen hackle or a partridge or something like that. But we're going to show you how to take maybe a piece of hackle that you would throw away and turn it into probably one of the best moving soft hackles that you'll fish. So what I'm going to do is I'll take one of these Coq de Leon hen saddle feathers, and let's suppose that I've already used all the good part up here and I'm just left with this fluff from, this is usually the part of the feather that we're going to pull off and take off, but it's basically just like little tiny marabou. It's really good fishy material. So we're going to show you how to create a dubbing loop and make this into a soft hackle. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take this Stonfo material clip, okay, and I'm going to kind of tease the fibers out, and down here, that's where I'll kind of pull a little bit off. So I'm going to tease the fibers out a little bit, and I'm going to gauge how long I want that soft hackle to be, and then I'll just come in here with my material clip, just kind of grab onto them like that. And you don't need the whole clip full of feathers. This is probably good enough, just about like that. Then you're going to take your scissors and trim away the waste. So you've got that junk feather that you would have thrown away. So this is a good reason for you to start saving your used feathers. This color also is interesting. This is the Coq de Leon hen saddle dyed salmon. Now we thought this would be a lot more orange or a lot more pink, but it's really subtle, and it's actually a really nice, almost like pale orange. So a really cool color. A lot of people haven't really caught on to this color because they see the salmon there, but we have this in the store as well. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dubbing loop using this Stonfo or thread splitter. It's got a notch that you can stick in between, or you stick your thread in these notches, and as you push the head of it down, it pokes a needle up through that splits your thread. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get used to it, you can do it every time. So as I do this, I'm going to kind of rub this up and down the thread to flatten it out before I push the needle through. Okay, so I've got my 2 strands of thread, and again, this is why the UTC 70 is so good, because it is a flat thread and it lays down really nice to be split. Take a little bit of touch dub wax and just make it a little tacky. Then I'm going to take that feather and just lay it right in that dubbing loop, and then as I undo the clip, it just sits right in there perfect. So I'm going to manipulate these just a tiny bit so that they sit at a 90-degree angle as much as possible from the thread. And now I'm just going to twist my thread kind of lightly the first time through. And this top feather will kind of try to tangle up a little bit. That's actually okay. So the next couple twists can be a little bit faster. Alright. So now we have our dubbing loop with that feather, and I'm just going to start wrapping that forward. And you can make this as sparse as you want. This fly I think will fish on a still water, so on a lake, so kind of strip it through behind a leech, so it's going to be a lot more full. And then I'm going to build up a little bit of a hot spot on the head. And then before I do a whip finish, I'm going to take all the twist out of that thread so it lays down a lot easier. Alright, so there we have it. That one's a pretty bushy one. But you can make those fibers as long or as sparse as you want. Sometimes I'll get half the fluffy fibers and half the normal fibers, so it kind of has an under fluff. But anyway, it's kind of a cool tool, this little clip. It helps you save a lot of feathers. And I've put about everything in it. You can do everything from crystal flash to marabou to dry fly hackle to deer hair. Anyway, try this little Junker soft hackle, and in the meantime, remember to subscribe.